Hello, beauties. Welcome back to Midlife by Human Design. I hope that your summer is coming along beautifully. I hope that you are having some time with family and friends and enjoying gorgeous weather and celebrating being alive. It was a very summery weekend here in Vermont, and I've just been feeling incredibly grateful for the gorgeous Vermont summers. Today, I have what I think is going to be a short episode, and then I reflect on the amount of times that I tell you that, and then I end up babbling for fucking 30 minutes. So I'm going to try to keep this one short because I know that summer is busy and we have a little less structure usually. And so it's a bit easier to get in shorter episodes. So that is my intention. We'll see how it goes. I wanted to talk today about a question that I hear so often from women in midlife. And I want to talk about trying to reframe that. So essentially, this is a mindset episode. The question is around feeling like something is wrong with us, like literally saying, "What's wrong with me?" As if something is wrong with us. And I think that is the wrong question because that question, "What's wrong with me?" keeps us focused on the past, essentially. It keeps us looking back at this version of us that is no longer really. And we are comparing our current version of who we are to the version of us who used to be. When we ask what's wrong with me, we are assuming that there is something wrong with us. And I guess like perimenopause symptoms and, aches and pains that can pop up during midlife and generally how our bodies are shifting. I'm not saying that those aren't things to address. They certainly are. And I want you to feel as good in your body as you have ever felt in your body. And you may need some support around those things. So I guess that's just a caveat. I don't want to sugarcoat those things and, have you feeling like, well, yeah, that's great, Lori, but like I have hot flashes all night and I'm not sleeping and, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All of the things that perimenopause and menopause can bring along. So yes, I realize that. And those things do need to be addressed in order to have you feeling really good. But I'm thinking about this as kind of more of the holistic approach where you're looking in on your whole life and you're thinking about how you feel in your body, but you're also thinking about your relationships and you're thinking about your career and you're thinking about your family and your love life and your sex life, et cetera, et cetera. And that is when we ask that question, like, what is wrong with me? It doesn't feel like it used to. And that is the kind of the main point that I want to make is that it's not supposed to feel like it used to. And my question back to you when you ask about what is wrong with me and the underlying thought is, I want my old self back, is, do you really? And your first answer might be, well, of course I do, because like I want to be younger, and who doesn't want to be younger? And who doesn't want to be younger? Think about that. Do you actually want to go back to the younger version of yourself? And if so, why? What is it about that younger self that you feel like is better in some way, shape, or form than this version of you? Maybe it's how you were feeling in your body and whatnot. But what I invite you to explore here is, what have you gained by making it this far in life? What wisdom do you now have that is different than that version of you that you're looking back on? It's sort of a grass is always greener situation where you look back and it's easy to romanticize or feel nostalgic about the woman who you once were. But that woman doesn't have the same sort of clarity that you have. Or if you're feeling like a foggy mess lately, she doesn't have the same wisdom that you are gaining by moving through that. And I guess that is what I want you to think about is this old version of yourself. Are you actually grieving a version of yourself who doesn't fit anymore into this new person? What we have to remember in midlife is that the landscape is changing, and the woman that we once were may very well struggle in the current landscape that you're navigating, with perimenopause, with aging parents, with career changes or career questioning, with less tolerance for people's bullshit, with your kids growing up, with all of the the shit that you're dealing with perimenopause. So all of this reality is changing you, and it doesn't mean that something's wrong with you. It simply means that you are becoming the next version of you. Think back to when you were in puberty as a young person and your body started changing. You weren't thinking like, what is wrong with me? I mean, most people aren't. Maybe that's a generalization. All right, I'm getting into my head here, but what I want to say is it's expected, right? And I think it's a part of life that a lot more people are talking about. And yes, midlife and the changes that we go through in midlife, more and more people are starting to talk about, because I think us as Gen Xers and elder millennials are talking about it more and more and raising awareness around it. But we aren't, as young people, looking at our bodies like something's wrong with us, like, oh my God. It's more of this excitement of like, wow, I'm growing up. And I want to invite us to reframe this period of life and think of it as this is cougar puberty, right? Oh my God, my body is changing. And instead of looking at all of these symptoms of perimenopause and menopause and thinking, fuck, like these suck, this is horrible, blah, 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 looking at them and reframing them like, oh my God, this is my body changing into the next version of myself. So instead of asking when you have a hot flash, what is wrong with me? It is, who am I becoming? Who am I shedding? Who is my body literally burning away right now? What versions of myself am I literally burning away with this hot flash in order to birth the next version of me? Who am I becoming? So the invitation is to catch yourself when you hear yourself saying something like, what's wrong with me? And reframe it into, who am I becoming? What is this next version of me? And a lot of the time, it's our body talking to us, right? It's hot flashes, it's night sweats, it's brain fog, it's forgetting things, it's rage, it's, mood swings. What is your body telling you through those things? And of course, since this is a human design podcast, how can you use your human design to help you navigate that? If this is the first time in your life that you are learning that you are an emotionally defined person and that you have an emotional wave, or maybe you have multiple emotional waves, then suddenly you are going to be able to own that in such a different way than you have for your entire life. instead of trying to mask your emotions, or instead of apologizing for your emotions, or waking up on, quote, the wrong side of the bed and not understanding why you're in a mood if there doesn't seem to be any outward reason for that. Suddenly, when you learn that you are emotionally defined, it all makes sense. And you have nothing to apologize for. You may share that with your family and help them to understand so they can support you and they can navigate it with you, as you would do the same for them if they are emotionally defined or undefined, and helping them understand that they're going to amplify wherever you are if they're undefined. So that alone is a great example of how your human design can help you to navigate these shifts. And we live life in a linear fashion because that is how our brain constructs time, right? So we think about the past and we relate to the past, but the fact of the matter is that time is just now. Everything is in the present and everything is actually happening simultaneously. But in order for our brains to make sense of it, we live it and experience it in a linear fashion. So from a start to a finish. And this phase that we are in, our midlife, it's a renovation period, just as our time in puberty was a renovation period. Think about yourself pre-pubescent child versus in your teens and through your teens, how much you changed in that period of life. Essentially, the same thing is happening in this phase of life. You are going to look very different than the woman you were in your early 40s to, mid 50s and beyond. And I invite you to see that reconstruction as a gorgeous, juicy, incredible time of possibility in your life. So human design obviously helps you to think about your decision making and understand truly how are you actually designed to make decisions. And if you've been making decisions based on your pros and cons list for your entire life, but you're actually a sacral being, then human design gives you the permission that you need to just make a gut call, to tune in to what it feels like in your gut and make the call and feel really rooted in the correctness of that for you. If you are putting out energy or trying to will your way through determination and perseverance into a place that you don't naturally have energy, like your heart center, then human design helps you to understand that and be like, actually, you don't have the drive of the heart center. You don't have that push that will get you across the finish line. It comes and goes because any place that you don't have definition is going to be affected by transits. So you'll have it at some times, but you're just borrowing it. So when you learn that in midlife, you can realize like, oh shit, okay, I am pushing so hard and no wonder I'm exhausted. I don't have this built into my human design, and I need to understand that my human design is telling me now I'm going to go experiment and see what does that feel like. And of course, it points you to your conditioning and figuring out like, okay, where have I taken my conditioning for my capital T truth? And now I'm realizing like, shit, this is not actually true. This is not something that is a part of me. This is a conditioning component that I have lived with and lived by for the last 40 or 50 years. And maybe I need to reconsider. Maybe actually it's not that way. So looking at your human design, of course, can help you reframe this question from what's wrong with me to who am I becoming. Looking at your human design gives you your energetic blueprint. And by the end of a human design reading, I can tell you This is where you need to stop forcing. This is actually in your life what you've been doing that you can stop now, that you can pivot, take the 1-degree pivot. Looking at your chart, it is so easy to see your energy leaks and start to understand if one of the symptoms of perimenopause or menopause that you're experiencing is exhaustion. It should be pretty easy to figure out why that is according to your human design. So if you're interested in jumping into that and exploring that, then book a reading with me. I will leave the link in the show notes. So instead of asking yourself, what's wrong with me? This is an invitation to ask yourself, who am I becoming? It's a different question. Allow yourself to sit with the answers, just as a last note here, because I think that the answers that come up, they're really easy to dismiss as pipe dreams or as, well, that's not practical. And whatever is coming up around who you are becoming, I invite you to hold back your judgment. Let the answers arise. Just be with them. Try not to think about all of the reasons that they couldn't happen or the reasons that they aren't practical, etc., etc. Just listen to what comes up. Just allow yourself to be with the possibility. And I'm envisioning doing this in meditation and seeing what comes in. But, this could happen on a car ride, just getting curious about, who am I becoming? Who do I want to be? What excites me in this life? What do I feel drawn to? What do I want to spend more of my time doing? Who do I want to spend more of my time being? And allow yourself to dream and imagine what that might look like. And in that dreaming, you are allowing yourself little by little to let go of those old versions of yourself that no longer fit and make room for this new version of yourself that you are constructing. So thank you so much for listening today. If you are listening on Spotify, please follow the show. If you're listening on Apple, please follow the show, subscribe to the show so you will get this dropped into your to-listen queue. And if you're listening on YouTube, please like this video and subscribe so you get it. And if any of this resonated or if you have questions, drop me a DM, send me something on socials or send me an email, lori@lorilisai.com. Remember, if you don't have your chart, go to lorilisai.com and go to get your chart. I also have a free mini guide. And book a reading if you want to sit with me and allow me to reflect to you your genius, your gorgeousness, your beauty, your potential for this next phase of life and who you came here to be. So on that note, I am wishing you the strength to let go of what no longer serves you. So much joy to fill your days and the clarity to be who you came here to be. Until next time.